Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here,
And BlueDragonFive.
and tonight we're talking Mr. Banks. Oh yes, aren't we? Aren't we talking Mr. Banks, Blue Dragon 5? Do you like my Walt Disney impression?
Eh,
Not bad, not bad. Well, I'm sick. Give me a break.
yeah.
All right. So yeah, new Disney movie just came out. Pretty major one. Tomorrowland, directed by Brad Bird. This is a movie that Brad Bird turned down Star Wars for. Was it worth it? Me and Blue Dragon 5 have somewhat differing opinions, but we both liked it. So anyways, we'll get into that. But first, we're going to get into just a tiny bit into the land that inspired this movie to begin with. So, to quote Walt Disney from July 17th, 1955, opening day of Disneyland, for his dedication speech of the land, "A vista into a world of wondrous ideas signifying man's achievements. A step into the future. With predictions of constructed things to come, tomorrow offers new frontiers in science, adventure, and ideals. The atomic age, the challenge of outer space, and the hope for a peaceful, united world." Yeah. All right, so Blue Dragon 5, you don't know much about Tomorrowland, do you?
I know I like it, but I don't know much about the history.
Okay, so I will take you back. I will take you on the way back machine, all the way back to when the TV show Disneyland was airing, but not but the park itself hadn't been created yet. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but the TV show Disneyland was essentially created as a platform for Walt Disney to basically advertise everything in his company. And also just to kind of, they had like the four general themes: Adventureland, Frontierland, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland. Well, the Tomorrowland segments were usually very scientific, and I'd like to just kind of quickly highlight Mr. Ward Kimball, who did these very, two really, really good, very iconic sort of scientific documentary-style cartoon features. One was... Oh God, let's see. I might have to look this up.
For the folks at home that don't know, Ward Kimball's awesome.
Oh yes. Ward Kimball is also, in addition to to providing, to providing kind of the basis of these early Tomorrowland shorts.
He was one of the 9 old men.
Of course, and he was also a legendary Imagineer as well.
Of course.
He did a short called Man in Space, essentially. And I'd love to tell you some of the other ones he did, but unfortunately I should have looked it up before. But Man in Space was basically the big one, and it was essentially like, this is what man can accomplish if we set our sights to the stars. It was very sort of a Cosmos style, you know what I mean? Where it's
like a Neil deGrasse Tyson or Carl Shit.
Yeah. Where it's like, just very sort of like just looking to the stars and just inspirational sort of stuff. Really drew you in.
I remember Disney talking. I was wondering how powerful was just Disney talking to you in that show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But Ward Kimball, he's definitely the guy who really set the tone for the Tomorrowland area, and Walt really wanted it to be this futuristic kind of city. But instead, unfortunately, here's the thing about Tomorrowland, that it really got off on the wrong foot right away. Because it started as basically everything else in Disneyland was completed except for Tomorrowland. So Tomorrowland essentially needed corporate sponsorship to operate. So it had Monsanto's Bathroom of the Future, a legendary classic. Stuff like the Hall of Chemistry. Yes, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding at all.
I mean, I'll tell you, Hall of Dentistry sounds kind of cool, but seriously, a Bathroom of the Future?
Bathroom of the Future, my friend. You better believe it.
Does it have, like, seashells or something?
I don't know. But, it's like Tomorrowland has always kind of, like, been integrated into, like, the corporate sponsorship sort of stuff, but, Yeah, there were a lot of corporate stuff back in the early days of Tomorrowland. There was the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea walkthrough, which was probably the coolest thing that they had going on at the time. And then there was the Autopia, of course, which was an opening day attraction. But really, Walt Disney was always very unsatisfied with the state of Tomorrowland until they redid it in the 60s and they added the People Mover. Now, what the People Mover did in Blue Dragon 5, I know you think I'm probably upset by the fact that there's no People Movers in this attraction or in this movie, I should say, because I've been going off about that. I'm going to give it a pass. But
To be fair, a lot of the elements are kind of similar to the People Movers, if I'm correct.
Sure. But what People Movers did for Tomorrowland, and this is why it was stupid of them it was stupid of them to get rid of it, was it just added this synergy to the whole land. You know what I mean? It added like a constant state of movement because you constantly saw these cars up in the areas, and it would go through every building. It would, so you'd see it in line for Star Tours. You'd see it in line for Space Mountain. And then you'd see him passing over the Sub Lagoon and passing over the Autopia. So they really, the whole land, it gave it like kind of a cohesive feel to the whole thing. When they got rid of them, it was dumb. And now Tomorrowland is kind of a mess, and honestly, it'll probably just turn into Star Wars Land in due time. So that's basically your core history of Disneyland's Tomorrowland in a nutshell. Let's see. I'm looking at. Do you want to know some of the other kind of obscure attractions that were there?
Well, I think we should probably focus on the movie now.
Fair enough.
But yeah, a little Cliff Notes history of Tomorrowland. The thing that kind of
Yeah, sorry, folks. Sorry. I mean, much like the movie itself, Tomorrowland offered a really, really promising vision of the future, and then by the third act, just shat on it.
Well, I mean, the big thing about Tomorrowland, I think they did kind of capture kind of the Disney's approach to Tomorrowland. It was like just that innovative look to the future, and it really just again is something that always stuck in my head just going into. I remember some of the trailers. For some reason I can't find them. They're a little hard to find on YouTube for some reason. Remember they have
the Walt Disney ones. Yeah, I've never been able to find those.
Yeah, so I've seen they've shown them on TV, like the Walt Disney just kind of telling you a little bit about Tomorrowland, just how moving that is. Just this man with so much passion, just telling you. And here we have Epcot, like that kind of Epcot. Walt Disney, like kind of the Walt Disney, like the wizened man towards the end, just kind of in his
sure.
The man who's earned his stay in the office, you're saying, and here we have this coming to you very soon. That's sort of just that whimsical Walt Disney saying, hey, we're
Walt Disney at the end of his life was very, very, very much focused on Epcot. That was his baby, and I said this in my reaction to the trailer, and I do think that in general this film, while not directly referencing anything from Epcot, the original plans for Epcot, definitely I think they took away some of the spirit of what Walt wanted to do with that.
Exactly. This movie did really capture kind of the Walt Disney kind of Imagineering, kind of like the looking towards the future, kind of inspiring people. Inspiration was kind of the huge thematic thing of this movie, and I really loved that.
Sure. So, essentially, Blue Dragon 5, my thesis statement for the movie, how I felt about it was, I told you this off air, I love the movie Tomorrowland for the parts of it that are not in Tomorrowland. I like the opening stuff that we get in Tomorrowland. I like the stuff in the first act. By the time we get to the third act, Blue Dragon 5, I'm sorry. I really love everything they built up to. I really love the ride getting there, but the third act is a mess. It's one of the worst third acts that I've seen in a movie in quite a while, and it really kind of derailed my whole enjoyment of the movie. I still am going to look back very fondly on the first two thirds of this movie, but that third act really, really bummed me out, man.
I disagree. I like the third act. I don't see what you're talking about. Why it was so bad, but we'll get to that. We'll get to it. I'm still baffled by that, but anyway, overall, I think kind of to summarize my thoughts on this movie, I think overall, this might sound a little sappy, but I mean, it put the soul of a beloved section of theme park on screen to me.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Basically that, and plus it it was pumping with that Brad Bird charm all over
Oh,
the film.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
all
Brad
over the
Bird
film.
is just like, yeah, this is definitely Brad Bird's, like, this is the film where he just gets to go nuts.
Yeah,
You
this
know
is
what I
Brad
mean?
Bird's Interstellar. You know, this is his big passion project, and it shows. You know, it has like
And there's a lot more
breathtaking.
joy in this movie than there is in Interstellar. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's got these great kind of Brad Bird hallmarks. It's got these breathtaking visuals. It's got these wonderful characters. It's got like, this really the thing that I love most about it is you have all these gadgets and Imagineering
Of
galore, and
course,
there's
of
all
course.
this inventive stuff that kind of can only come from the mind of a Brad Bird. But also, just to give credit where credit's due, I'm sure you're going to appreciate this. I don't know if you knew this going into it or not, but the writer of this movie and producer, Dave Lindelof, who I believe is your main Lost writer, one of the big Lost writers.
He's the last showrunner. I do not like his screenwriting, though. That's the thing. I feel like he's like, he wrote Prometheus as well, and he's written a couple other things where I feel like his whole thing is like these high concept things, and I feel like I don't know. It's weird, because I feel like if Tomorrowland was a TV show, and we had 12 episodes to stretch it out, this would be brilliant, because all the world building that we bring to the table and everything like that. It's just that in the course of a 2-hour movie, I felt, like I said, I felt pretty much with it until we got to Tomorrowland, and then I was like, okay, there's the Lindelof. So yeah, Lindelof was not a plus for me, to tell you the truth.
Well, I had like a little summarizing brief statement for like what I was hoping you're going to be a little more in agreement with me on this, but I think kind of sums up the movie in a nutshell. It's the ultimate pre-ride queue.
Well, I very much agree with you on that in terms of like the actual build-up to the quote-unquote ride that is being advertised is better than the quote-unquote ride itself. Yes,
no, I think even the end is like kind of like the ultimate. It feels like well, now you can come to the park too.
Well, the end has some. Okay, you know what? Do you want to just get into my problems with the end? Just let him hang out there.
All right, fine. So let's
Okay, I don't think Hugh Laurie is a great villain. I mean, I love Hugh Laurie, don't get me wrong. I just don't think they gave him much to do. He's just kind of like a generic, like, oh, I'm a corporate villain for the sake of being a villain.
Well, he's not a corporate villain, okay? He has actually some interesting motivation, I think.
Okay. I just thought that I didn't like, I don't know. Man, there's just, the one thing that I did really appreciate in the third act is everything that goes down between the George Clooney character and then the little girl android who we'll get into.
Yeah, Athena.
Everything that goes on there, that's really good stuff. That's really good stuff. That's really
what I'm
good
saying.
characters.
That's why I can't be mad at the third act, is giving this beautiful moment.
I just think everything's going. I just think everything that's going on around it is kind of a mess, and I'm like, in terms of plot, I'm not following. How did they get the technology to make new pins?
What?
I'm just going to put that out there. At the very end, when they have like, I guess we have a whole bunch of new pins now.
Well, remember, David, is it Nix or like what's Hugh Laurie's guy's last name? It's like Senator Nate. It's David Nix or something, Nibs or whatever.
I think it's Nix, yeah, and I think it's supposed to be like, get it? It's like Nixon.
My point is, remember, he was hiding it from people, so he has the technology. He supposedly destroyed it.
Okay, you see, I guess that's where my kind of problems come into play here then, is that I just don't feel like this movie explained things enough. And now keep in mind, though, BlueDragonFive, keep in mind, I am a huge, like, I consider Mad Max Fury Road one of the best action movies ever made. And that movie explains jack shit. What I love about that movie is how you pick up details from the world and from the imagery. And here, I don't know. Like, there were definitely a lot of cool details to it, a lot of cool visuals here and there, but I just don't feel like the overall kind of mythos and concept of this came together at all for me.
Well, look, to be fair with the whole badge, with the whole pin thing, If it's, I was kind of, I assumed that's what it was. Like he hid the technology. But even if it's not that, I think we can just assume with the resources at hand that Frank could build all that stuff. I mean, come on, it's like the technology's there, and it's probably like a little thing that shoots him out somewhere in Tomorrow. I don't think that's looking too far into it. Just the technology in this movie is so fantastic. It's like you don't need to explain technology that much. I mean, the pins thing's minor.
Okay, well, let me go to something in this movie that I absolutely freaking loved, and I called right from the trailer.
Okay.
The World's Fair.
Oh, I love the World's Fair.
Okay, it's kind of like, it's a shame, BlueDragonFive.
Oh, take it. I meant to ask you about this. Tell me and tell the folks about this just to clarify. So I remember that it was watching from The Boys, the Sherman Brothers documentary, fantastic Sherman Brothers documentary. We can't know enough. In that, remember the Sherman Brothers there at the dedication for that, and it was in a World's Fair, if I'm correct. Now, can you give us a little bit of story around that? Do you know anything like why It's a Small World was at the World's Fair?
It's a Small World was actually a last-minute thing that Pepsi Cola came to them with, and they were, or I think it was it Pepsi Cola? No, actually, I think it might have been. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks. I think that I think it might have been Pepsi Cola and UNICEF, because UNICEF was the one that kind of
must have been UNICEF.
Yeah, well, UNICEF was the one that came up with the whole all the children from Rome concept.
I think
Pepsi
right.
Cola was kind of more of the corporate end of it.
UNICEF sounds right.
Okay, but I still think Pepsi Cola sponsored it too.
That's fair.
So anyways, like the big attractions that they were working on, they had Mr. Lincoln was at the World's Fair. They had the Ford Motorway, the Ford Magic Skyway, which had technology that eventually became the People Mover, and also had a couple scenes that made it into World of Motion at Epcot, and then also it had the Primeval World that made it into the Disneyland Railroad at Tomorrowland. So, and then the primary thing, of course, that was at the World's Fair was the Carousel of Progress. Like, that was their big, e-ticket, if you will, their big draw attraction for the World's Fair. And by the way, BlueDragonFive, how freaking amazing was it that they start this movie off with "There's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow"?
Oh, I'm so happy when I heard that.
As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh yes, I love it.
Just remember, they wrote that song on the spot for that little promo thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great big beautiful tomorrow.
And also, just really quick, I love how they altered the Disney logo for this movie.
Oh yeah, I pointed out to the person I was seeing, so I nudged them. I was like, "Oh my God, it's Tomorrowland! It's in the best little dome in the background."
That was a really good touch. Okay, so just a couple things to note about this World's Fair thing. I do like the introduction of Hugh Laurie's character. I just don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's. I
don't think they do much with him though. But I like how, I like the whole idea of this kid with the jetpack. In a way, I'm going to just fanfic this shit and say that George Clooney is the jetpack guy from Tomorrowland. The guy who I was telling you about, who's like, oh, I'm just a random jetpack man, and I am the character before Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck are characters in Disneyland. Because I was telling you, Main Street had the mayor, Frontierland had Davy Crockett, Fantasyland probably had the actual characters, but Tomorrowland had a spaceman.
Well, it's probably
as its main kind of mascot. And the spaceman had a jetpack.
Well, it has to be true because he invented the jetpack, and so there's some foundation for that.
So I very much like that they went back all the way to the Tomorrowland roots with the jetpack. Quick Jurassic Park thing when the kid's got the jetpack and he's falling and he's trying to put it on. He's trying to get the two seatbelts fastened and he
just ties.
Yeah, it's two of the same end, and then he just ties them, and that's they did that in Jurassic Park when the helicopter's coming down. I see what you did there, Brad Bird.
Well, there are a lot of references to some classic movies in this.
Right.
Brad Bird does so well.
Okay, so really interesting, BlueDragonFive. I want to talk about Small World.
Go ahead.
Because how cool was it that they basically recreated the exterior of Small World for how it looked in the World's Fair?
I know.
When I saw that, I freaking lost it.
It's just like Saving Mr. Banks. We go back to 60s Disney.
No. Let's not even compare it to Saving Mr. Banks, because I think this puts Saving Mr. Banks to shame in terms of what... I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Saving Mr. Banks.
Yeah, careful with that talk.
No, but this really, in terms of like what they did here, I'm going to go ahead and assume... I'm pretty sure that what they did was they took the exterior of Disneyland, and anyone who knows differently in the comments, like, go ahead, feel free to correct me.
Well, they did shoot on location for a lot. They basically shot a lot of this, and I was watching the credits. A lot of it's actually in the locations. There was some of it in Anaheim. There's maybe not Anaheim, but definitely Valencia, Los Angeles, and also
Valencia would be Magic Mountain.
Well, yeah, they did shoot in there was some Valencia in there. Like, I don't know, maybe it was for like some of the city stuff too. You got to bear in mind, like, a lot of it though was shot in Canada. So there's a lot of Canada in this movie.
Possibly.
Basically, I'm assuming whenever they were like on the streets, like obviously they couldn't shoot the whole thing in Florida, I'm guessing.
Right. But anyways, what I'm going to go ahead and assume that they did with the Disneyland Small World is they went ahead and completely transformed that thing, the whole exterior, to make it fit in with the World's Fair and to make it look as close to what was there at the World's Fair as they possibly could. And it blew my freaking mind. It's like, as a Disneyland fan, I know that that is the Disneyland Small World. You know, there were a couple things that gave it away. There's the, you know, the little waves that are on the side of the flume? The little wave designs, you know, as the boats are going by on either side of the flume, there's like these little wave designs.
Well, I remember Freakazoid going nuts over the little boat ride, but I can't recall.
Okay, fair enough. But no, that's exactly what they did. I am sure of it. And that is why it's kind of a step above and beyond what they did with Saving Mr. Banks. Because Saving Mr. Banks, of course, as you know, like, the big sticking point is that they had it in New Fantasyland, and New Fantasyland from post-1982 has a completely different look than Old Fantasyland does. Like, dramatically different look, and yet they shot in Fantasyland. So with this, I mean, they could have easily just shot It's a Small World with its current exterior that's iconic, you know, with the big clock tower face and everything like that. They could have easily shot that and just put some World's Fair signs around it and called it a day. But no, they went above and beyond. They covered that whole exterior up so it looks exactly like it looked in the World's Fair. That was amazing to me. I was blown away.
I just love the fact that It's a Small World's used, because think about it. You know, he goes on this ride, and you know, it's a small world with the music and everything playing, and the idea is that is his bridgeway to a much bigger world through a small world. Like, just something telling him it's a small world.
That's true.
When really it is a much bigger, and that's the pathway to literally the transport to a much, much, much bigger world.
Mm-hmm. So then we see. I really like that the sequence where we see, you know, the boat stop and then go down the flume.
Well, let me tell you, one of the huge things I loved with that is I love just kind of the adventure of it all in this movie. I adore the sense of adventure in this movie. We get kind of some of the great things Brad Bird is fantastic at in terms of communicating on screen or in animation or anything. Just he handles with also writing and everything. Just kids, female characters, and just, you know, he does all these dynamics so well. Just following having kids as your protagonist. That's his wheelhouse right there, and he does it really well with young John Francis Walker here. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, a little nod I really loved in this movie. I totally forgot about it until I saw the movie. That the Clooney's character, his name, John Francis Walker, is an homage to Brad Bird's longtime partner in filmmaking, producer John Walker.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, that's where it comes. That's where the name comes from. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because John Walker's like produced Incredibles. I got a little chill up my spine
when I saw A113 Studios at the very beginning.
When I saw that, I was just so happy. Like, oh my god,
it's for us!
They finally did it. After all the references, they made a studio based on it. Yeah, but still, let's talk about some of the fantastic storytelling. It gets us to that point. We'll build to that point, Diggies. Let me build to it.
Sure.
So one of my favorite elements of this movie, I love the moment that just had me hooked on this movie. from start to finish, just the opening, just that fourth wall breaking setup was fantastic.
Oh, it really was. Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah.
That just signifies, oh my god, this is such a Brad Bird movie, and it's awesome, and he's pushing his storytelling parameters. Like, he can do no wrongs, Brad Bird.
And I also love the framing device that we have of Clooney talking directly to the camera.
Yeah.
You know, that was all really well set up. We don't know exactly what's going on. We don't know exactly what he's talking about. We don't know who he's talking to. I love how they kind of just leave us hanging on that.
Yeah, and then like the girl, Casey, the girl is interrupting the whole time, just like with a little, it's like basically just kind of going to this awesome kind of like intro to a movie, like in a world where you know it's going to end. They're like, well, the dangerous thing about the world, and just say, well, why you gotta be so down about it? just trying like little, she's like this little hopeful gleam off screen, just like telling, well, why do you gotta be so negative? Talk about the good stuff. Wait, what? I'm telling the story here. Do you mind? Just it's wonderful. And then like she says, well, go back to a happy time. Well, when I was a kid. Well, don't tell them about that. All right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it right now. I do think Clooney knocked it out of the park with this.
Yes, he did. Why couldn't we have gotten this in Batman, Robin? This is a guy I could see as Batman. You see, this is the Clooney. Right, I could at least give this Clooney. I could give this Clooney a shot at being Batman. The previous Clooney, I was just like boxed into a corner of like, hello, I'm just man in rubber suit.
Hey, Freeze. I'm Batman.
Yeah, see, that's just lazy, just there
Never leave the cave without it.
See, again, I don't think you can't even blame Clooney entirely. It's just he's just boxed into a role. You just can't do anything with him. He's just there. He's realized, well, there's no saving this. I'm just going to be a man in rubber suit with ears.
But you see, what I really respect about Clooney's performance here is I do feel like as an actor he has kind of boxed himself up into like, oh, I'm Danny Ocean. I'm the suave ladies man.
Well, to quote Francine from American Dad, he has to do that little look with like the eyes half lidded, like the whole.
Right. But here he sheds all of that, man. I love how cranky and bitter this character is.
Oh my god! This guy could be. I'm not saying he's earned it exactly, but I'm saying I think he's on his way to earning it. But he's in the range of Dark Knight Returns Batman with that sort of performance. He's getting there. I'll tell you what, Batman.
That would not be a bad choice.
Well, actually, I'll give you a better one. I'll tell you a better one.
How crazy would that be if they did a straight up live action Dark Knight Returns? And
we're kind of on the pathway of that right now. But
I know, but that's just going to be a mess of different references.
Yeah, let me tell you this. This is actually what I was thinking before with Clooney. Just thinking about only Batman. If I could really give you this whole thing. There actually is a Batman. There's a comic with Batman that Clooney would be perfect for. It's if they ever brought Kingdom Come to the screen in some way. Kingdom Come essentially is like the Alex Ross painted. Basically, they painted so it's one of the few comics that is like painted so artfully. It looks beautiful. Mm-hmm. And it's a what if story of like what if the future wasn't so nice a place for our DC heroes, and it's basically after Batman has back broken by Bane, what if he never got over and he's still like in traction, like he's just their embittered old man that's Superman's pal, he just doesn't like him that much. So pretty much it's basically he has to wear like a giant X. This is where the not infamous because it's awesome. The famous Batman exosuit came out, basically a robot Batman.
Okay, gotcha.
So this is where it came from. Basically, what if like the embittered Batman was that George Clooney? What if it was that? If it was this George Clooney, I'd definitely buy that because he played embittered yet hopeful so well.
So what you're saying is that one of the biggest Batman fans on YouTube is now endorsing George Clooney as Batman again.
Only as Kingdom Come Batman.
Fair enough.
Which I think is fair. I think that has to be this Clooney. It can't be past Clooney.
Well, of course. I mean, unless it's like freaking Doc Brown is like, Marty, we have to go back and make another George Clooney sequel. We have to make Batman triumphant.
And believe me, Clooney by far the worst Batman, but not entirely his fault. But in this, seeing his performance in this gives you a little hope for a Kingdom Come Batman. Only that.
No, I think Clooney has been on a roll, though. I mean, if you've seen The Descendants, man, he really gives it his all in that, too. But this, no, I just really like the character of Frank. Yeah. And I think they did because he's almost kind of like a live-action Carl Fredrickson.
I know, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Because he's just so bitter, And that's what his whole character is based around. And then the whole movie's kind of based around his interaction with this other character that kind of turns his attitude around. So it's really very similar to Up in a way.
I'll tell you this, I can say this hands down is my favorite George Clooney performance I've ever seen. I can say that much.
I'd go number 2 after The Descendants, but yeah, it's up there for me.
Yeah. Well, again, this is pretty much, again, main thing I've seen him was Batman Robin. That was just crushed me with him in it. So, I mean, this is a grand step up. Point is, Clooney, he does knock it out of the ballpark in this movie. Man, he does so well.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, he plays so many layers. He does it so well. You're right. He gets a lot of up in this movie, which is probably the reason I'm really high on it. You know, there's that. But also, I like, another reason I'm a little lighter on the villain is because he is like a lot like Charles Muntz, the bad guy in this movie.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a mix of both Carl and Muntz in a way.
Yeah.
No,
Anyways.
but I mean, I love all the, just all the wonder that went into the first, that first scene we see of him when he reaches Tomorrowland.
Yes, exactly. So with that, let me keep building on the kid here.
Yeah, sure.
Just seeing this kid, 1964, goes to the World's Fair. You can tell he's hauled this. He's hauled this bag full of his jetpack and his gear and stuff. He's come all this way, and I also love how it's like little intercuts of like just kind of through the thing of seeing like his father like saying, "You're never gonna fix this. I will too."
And I like how when Hugh Laurie's questioning him, he's like, "Does it work?" And then he's like, "Well," and then it shows like a little flashback.
We get kind of like a Brad Bird, another trademark of Brad Bird, kids leading to their own pain, infliction of pain.
Right.
So, basically a lot of the 100-mile dash sequence from The Incredibles mixed with Hogarth kind of running around.
Oh yeah. This kid did very much remind me of Hogarth.
Yeah, just like the kids get into like actual kid-like shenanigans. Like, you're gonna try the thing out. Well, what if it doesn't go so well? It crashes into a fence.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, there's a lot of that, and just I love the determination on this kid. Just like even with Hugh Laurie, he kind of sells you on the charm in the beginning there. So he's a lot like Charles Muntz. You love the guy in the beginning, then in the end he turns into be this huge villain.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's that moment of like, does it work? Says, I'm going to fix it. Well, that sounds more like it. But until then, keep dreaming.
Yeah. Then, do you want to talk about Athena? Do you want to bring her into the mix?
Sure. So basically, after again, I just love seeing this kid in 1964. He's like an inventor. He's really great. He loves the build. He dreams. And the biggest thing I love about this kid, the huge thing with the movie, by the way. Again, I love the reason he gives for why he built this thing. For what purpose does a jetpack have? It's fun. Well, we can't just build things on fun. There's the kid kind of dropping some big logic on the guy here, just dropping like, well, what would it do? He wouldn't know inspiration, like from flight.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if I saw someone again, basically kids have all the logic and all the wisdom in this movie, and I love that. Just saying, well, if I saw a kid or someone flying on a jetpack, that would inspire me. That's what it can do. And I love the idea. Think about it, Tiki. It's 1964. This is before NASA is even around. Well, at least since they've had their big stride, I mean.
Right.
With the moon landing. So the idea is like, man, this kid had the idea for going for something like that. And obviously the man on the moon thing, that was a huge inspiration for the nation, for everything after that. It was a big inspiration. We can do anything. And the idea of this kid, and just the idea of flight in this movie, just believing in the impossible, just the inspiration factor of this movie, just kind of inspiring things like that, and the idea that would give us Tomorrowland, just ideas like this. I think it's a really powerful. That's a really powerful notion to put in this movie, and I love that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so after the kid gets kind of shot down, but friendly, like, man, this Hugh Laurie guy, I like this guy. After he kind of just says, well, until you get it fixed off, and it's like he knows like I thought it was his daughter at the beginning of the movie. Apparently, just kind of his robot sidekick or something. Don't even think about it, Athena.
Dude, I just watched Ex Machina, okay? So, like, just the idea of humans and their relationships with androids are very disturbing right now, so don't even get into what she is to him, okay?
It's fine. Like, the point is his assistant, is a little assistant Athena.
No, I'm just making a joke. Don't worry about it. I'm just making a joke about how fucked up Ex Machina is.
Right. This is like, don't even think about it. Then I love this like, a little friendship starts here. Like, she's the one who questions, why did you build it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just the kid, first of all, just instantly taken with this little girl. Like he's a little boy in love almost. She's like, no, man, this girl's asking me the right questions. And whatever, like my father's always like, stop building stuff. You're not good at it. Like this girl's asking, well, why? And he's really taken by that. And then she's just kind of like saying, okay, listen, if you just count to 20, then follow me. Use this pen. So Athena's really great in this movie. She is.
Oh yeah, she's definitely like I'd say she's the element of this movie that they very much hid from marketing, and I think that's a smart move because she was the heart and soul of the movie.
I give Jeremy Johns a lot of credit here for kind of saying it before we all did. Just saying, the marketing in this film is fantastic. How it is a rare occurrence of like nothing is given away in the marketing for this movie.
Exactly, which is okay.
Astounding.
I mean, I do have spoilers in the title, but keep in mind, folks, as we move on, we're going to get more and more and more spoilers.
Of course. But I mean, that does not give away a thing in the marketing. It's just like a girl touches a pen. She sees, like someone asked me recently, "Hey, well, you saw Tomorrowland. What's it about?" I was trying to get into it. I was just, girl touches a pin, goes to a magical dimension. That's pretty much it. And you're really going into this. You and I, we had all we had was our speculation on what it might be.
Exactly.
We had no idea what it was actually going to be. Like, we were thinking like it was like time loops and everything, which we're kind of on the money. It's a little ambiguous, but cool looking though.
All right. No, but seriously, Athena. I mean, just as a character, she's very well conceived. Very well developed. I like just the whole visual sort of contradiction to her, where it's like, she's just kind of like this adorable little girl, and then she's like going around beating up these robots and stuff like that. Oh, by the way, BlueDragonFive, as a Disney fan, I absolutely freaked out. I know what you loved. When they referred to robots as AA.
I know.
Oh my god, I nerdgasmed so hard at that.
I loved it when it dawned on me once we saw the skull. It was just on me, oh my god, it's the animatronics. Oh, it's brilliant.
And then they actually call them audio animatronics. I'm like, oh my god, yes.
Such a brilliant idea. That's how you get the animatronics in there. That's how you get these humanoid robots, because they're perfect animatronics. They're space. They're space.
Like all the enemies in this movie are essentially AAs, and that's what they're referred to as. It's wow. I feel like that part of the movie was made just for Disney nerds like us.
Just the idea of it's space age animatronics. That's how you get in there. Just hammers it in when you see the skull without the skull is pre-programmed with the statements and everything. It was brilliant. But anyway, so then we get kind of this again trying to think. So Athena gives him the badge, and then we go to the small world little transport scene. And again, I love just kind of the youthful sense of adventure there. The kid trying to get on the ride, but then he sneaks on it by just hopping over the fence and then jumping around. It's like we've always a bit like the naughty side of you as a kid just thinks, oh man, what if I get on the ride with them?
It gives me ideas for my next trip.
Okay, well, seriously, folks.
But seriously, knowing the layout of Disneyland and how that is actually a very possible thing.
It's like a Rugrats type adventure, let's get on the thing, even though we're not supposed to.
Okay, the funny thing about Small World actually is that there's no security cameras in there.
Really?
I'm not kidding you. Yeah, there's no security cameras.
What do you mean there's no security? How would they find people the ride breaks down?
I don't, because I have sensors to know when the ride breaks down, and then they send people in there. But I've always dreamed of just getting off of the boat and then just wandering around all the sets.
Huh.
How fun would that be to just wander around?
It's like every kid's little what if of oh man, what if we actually got out of the ride, just explored the place?
And some people will be like, oh, screw that, Small World's you know what? Small World is pretty much the attraction in existence that has Walt Disney's fingerprints all over it the most.
Oh, yeah.
I will defend Small World.
However, you got to admit though, if you take a step off that thing and it's until you're you are a rivet in the park, is you work there. It's gonna have that. Even if you do work there, it's probably gonna feel like I've taken a step off the boat, therefore the magic is slowly drifting away. It's kind of that little what if of oh man, if I get off, will the magic be gone forever when I'm riding that thing? Because I've been there, I've taken a step on, I've defiled the holy ground in a way.
It's like walking around in the Haunted Mansion or something, which is actually very, very dangerous to do, and I would not recommend that.
Exactly. So, folks, seriously, public service.
Do not walk around the Haunted Mansion. You might get killed because there's seriously high drops everywhere, and it's dark and it's very dangerous.
But seriously, folks, don't walk around rides when you're not supposed to. It could be really dangerous. People do
get
killed that way.
Small World is a different story though. Small World is pretty safe. It's just all these small little walkways and stuff.
Yeah.
So if you want to do it, go ahead, film it, put it on.
People actually have died drowning in the little thing of water. Seriously, the people do
Well,
actually.
they have died in the rivers of America.
Right.
I think that's the only body of water someone's drowned in.
Well, let's get back to some positives.
Yeah. That was like a whole theme park tangent right there.
Exactly. Let's get into horrific implications of theme parks. Let's get back to the positives. Okay, so
I could go on all day, BlueDragonFive.
Okay, so you want to say something about Small World? It's like it gets a little badge scanned, and then he's all.
One thing I have to say about Small World is when it turns from when he goes down that little flume.
Oh yeah, I love that.
I am almost convinced. that that's a shot of the first drop on Disneyland's Pirates of the Caribbean.
You know what I'd love? I'd love it if like just kids who saw this movie would go on It's a Small World just thinking, oh, what if one of these times we go down a little secret passageway?
Right.
What if that'd be adorable? It's still it's such a simple. Brad Bird's made such the simplest notion, the most intriguing thing on earth. Of like going to ride. What if like it scans a badge and then you go down this secret little passageway of It's a Small World? Oh my god.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's really cool.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm sorry, keep going.
Well, yeah, I mean that's basically it,
Yeah, and just overall with just Frank's character here again, there's so many great things. I love it when you get that first glimpse of Tomorrowland, and then he's brought aboard. He's transported there. And then when he's there, just just going around, and I love it when he meets the robot. That is one of my favorite parts of the movie. I love when he meets the giant construction bot. It's so friendly to him. It fixes the jetpack. This robot is the reason for the movie, by the way, because it fixed the jetpack, got it to work, and he showed it to the guy, and that gives us our whole movie because that robot was. And a little thumbs up. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, it was, yeah.
A little thumbs up. And remember how the animatronics do that too.
Mm-hmm.
The animatronics, and they're so creepy with the smiley animatronic. Let's give him the Jason Schwartzman looking animatronic. Just give him the smile.
Oh my god, you're right. It is a Jason Schwartzman looking animatronic.
He's always going to give him the smile, just like the most positive, uplifting. The actual Imagineer animatronic is saying, "No, I don't want to tell you that."
But yeah, I mean, I love, just, of course, right off the bat, we get that flight sequence with the jetpack.
And again, just the kid, I literally, all of our Once Upon a Time discussions, I've always used the analogy, like, he's like assembling the parachute on the way down. You get to see that.
Right.
Oh, just again, that's a Brad Bird touch. Brad Bird. It's a shame we couldn't. I would love to say Mark Andrews worked on this movie because it has some action that's so reminiscent of Mark Andrews, but it's not. Just the idea you're falling. This is such a Brad Bird movie touch. Of you put the jetpack on, do an action sequence that you're assembling something on the way down. There's that little dash moment from The Incredibles. He's enjoying the scenery for a moment, wow, and then no, I'm gonna fall. Oh, so cool. I got it to work. It's such a wonderful thing just seeing him fly like that, and just seeing how it I love how it pays off too when you see adult Frank fly like that again. Just that whimsy, but it's under dark circumstances.
Yeah, the whole film does really have a lot of kind of good bookends to it, for sure.
Oh yeah. So again, just seeing that kid, seeing young Frank Walker here, just seeing him, this idealistic kid who was like he's literally flown into this magical world that's going to get even more magical, more innovative, and all that stuff. Just seeing him turned into this loner, this embittered loner who's like so disheartened, and through the course of the movie, just finding hope again. That's so moving.
Sure. Okay, so do you want to get into the character of Casey?
Yeah, let's get into Casey, man.
All right, yeah, she's another really good one. She surprised me.
Again, another thing, Brad Bird's really female characters, especially like teen girl characters, like Violet from The Incredibles,
Oh yeah. I just love how enthusiastic this girl is.
I love this girl's background. I just love this idea that she's inspired. She's kind of an Imagineer at heart too, because she's
most definitely is an Imagineer at heart. Yeah, absolutely.
I love it because it makes sense because her father is a NASA engineer. So first of all, I love the location of that because it's a perfect background to give someone who's going to be like an inventor or an Imagineer. Well, what's her background? Her father's an engineer. What's he an engineer of? Well, he works for NASA. Well, what's NASA's big thing? Going flight again, flight inspiration, big theme there. And what's the other thing? She wants to see the stars. Wow.
Yeah, I love that. I love that little flashback that they do.
Yeah, a little like video. Plus, I love it's a little 2003 little camcorder.
Right. Oh my god, it's so good. It's
If there are any Archer fans, that's Judy Greer doing her playing her mother, by the way.
And when the little girl says, "But what if up there it could be everything?"
Oh my god, that kid.
Like the whole audience collectively just went, "Oh."
But here's what I love. Here's where Brad Bird just sells you instantly how brilliant he can make a movie. Just the moment that most adorable line ever happens. This George Clooney just comes, "Are we going to spend all the time talking about your childhood?"
Right.
It's a Pixar touch, by the way. Just like Pixar bringing in, they undercut the sappy moments with humor.
To me, it kind of reminded me of The Emperor's New Groove in a way.
You're right. Oh my god, you're kind of right. But me, like with the sappiness, it's like the moment in Bug's Life where it says, this is a seed. No, it's a rock. It's like that little undercutting the sappy moment type thing.
Sure.
Just pointing out. Well, look, this is sweet, but can we get to the story now?
right.
Oh, it's so brilliant. Anyway, so again, you see what I mean? There's the train of thought here of like, well, she's a NASA. Her father's a NASA engineer. She's seen her father. He proactively. He's proactively making dreams reality. That's his whole shtick. He's building things that are going to reach the stars. Things are going to do amazing things from an Earth perspective. And it's the idea. Think about this, Tiki. Her father, man, she looks up to, man, he's like going to the stars. Man, the only man can kind of give her the idea to go to the stars. He's being brought down. His whole life's purpose is, by the way, wonderfully played by Tim McGraw. I love her father too. He's being brought. All the actors in this movie, I think, are really good. So he's being just brought down by the state of the world right now. We don't know how futuristic it is exactly. Like, for all we know, it could be in the present, just like a what if present.
I'm pretty sure it is present day.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a what if present.
I mentioned that the end of the world is like happening in 2015.
Yeah. So basically, just this idea that her father's being brought down by kind of how fear-based the society is right now. Just basically, and that makes him obsolete because it makes sense. It's a go-to action. We were actually kind of already faced somewhat of like the whole. Well, we got other things to worry about, so we got to kind of shut down NASA's research and development right now.
Sure.
I forget where we stand currently with NASA. I think they've shut down for a while. Like now, the Russians are doing most of the launching.
I would not be the person to ask.
Again, I'm just going off of what I've heard, so I don't know where it currently stands. The point is, like, I think the last launch might have been the Buzz Lightyear launch, which seriously was a real thing, the Discovery launch.
No, yeah.
I could be wrong, so don't quote me on it. The point is, it's just the idea that it makes sense. Well, what society's so paranoid of, like, oh no, we got global warming. It's a reality. We got to deal with this. It makes sense. Well, we don't have time to dream about the stars. We got to focus on now. And it's just so sad that he's
again kind of very much Interstellar going on.
Yeah, and again, yes, it's very similar to Interstellar, and it's so sad. Like, I love this girl. Just again, the dynamics, and this is another fantastic Brad Bird touch. Just the believability and just kind of the respect in these relationships. Of, like, she truly does respect her father. Like,
I love the symbolism of the hat.
Oh yeah, I love that. Kind of the Yamaha University tie.
Oh yeah.
No, but seriously, it's like this whole her father becoming obsolete again for just looking at this in terms of technology and building towards the future. If you become obsolete, it's like a fate worse than death for an Imagineer almost.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And the idea that she does her little kind of acts of vandalism for her father to begin to try and delay like the place from being torn down.
Sure.
And again, him vaguely realizing that the whole wolf story. What do you think of the wolf story?
To tell you the truth, I wasn't really too into it.
It's okay. I don't think it's that bad. I'll admit it. Maybe they could have come up with a better analogy, but it's not bad. I like it.
I felt like it was kind of shoehorned into the end. Just to be like, hey, remember? We brought that up.
Yeah, it's not that. It looked like her father's still inspiring her type thing. I like that.
I guess so. I don't know. It wasn't one of the things that I was like super excited about.
Well, I love that her first go-to is looking at that space station when she has a little orb in her hand, like she's going around the planet, looking like how things have turned up in the future, and just like seeing that. That's the first thing that shows that she has failed in her own mind. Like, first of all, like, that's failed. No.
Yeah, I love how quickly she adapts to that technology as well.
Oh yeah.
And I like how they built that up. It doesn't just come out of nowhere.
I love the symbolism of the Tachyon Bridge. Just the idea of, like, you see these, and that thing about it fits perfectly in with with David's kind of philosophy here of like people know what's going to happen, but they do nothing, and we see that happen with the hat. You know, she knows the hat's going to go, but she doesn't do anything because she's not that quick on the
Oh, and I love that device. I love that device of being able to see like 3 seconds into the future.
Exactly. You know.
Oh my god, that was one of the most creative things in the whole movie.
And you see what I mean, though. It's just the idea that it's being put there of like you know what's going to happen, yet you do nothing.
Exactly. Yeah,
and then by the end, Athena does something about it, and that kind of motivates the rest of our ending there.
And that whole thing, how that device is used with Athena, is like definitely the best thing about the third act.
You gotta admit, all the Athena stuff and like the Athena and kind of looking to the future stuff is pretty cool with the third act.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but I'll tell you my absolute favorite Casey scene, and it comes kind of like right at the beginning of her story. It's actually when we see her in school.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! Yeah, that's the Brad Bird moment.
Yeah. I love the montage of her. Like, there's just all these dry teachers, and they're just going on about like, yeah, global warming and the world is just going to end. And then she's just like raising her hand, like frantically. She's like the only one in class. Everyone else in class is like bored out of their mind, and she is just like, you know, so. And then I love that. It's like that tells you all you need to know about that character.
Yeah, this has like that's the Brad Bird trademark of the kid in school. Like the Hogarth, you didn't see a lot of it in Iron Giant, but like there's a lot of it like it was on the cutting room floor. But there's some of it in the movie. Hogarth was kind of that kid, and he was like the only kid raising his hand in the class, and the rest of the kids like just looked defeated. And like also, it's a similar thing of in that there was a lot of end of the world talk in the Iron Giant classroom.
Oh yeah, well the Iron Giant, I mean that whole thing is like a huge Cold War analogy.
Exactly,
sure.
And like the whole like in the classroom they tell you duck under
right.
It's like all like the little beavers telling you to duck under your
glass kid.
Yeah, which is a Teddy Newton little gag, by the way. I want to point that out. Unfortunately, he's not in this movie, but still Teddy Newton awesome.
But you know what? Indiana Jones taught us that in case of nuclear explosion, just find a fridge. We'll all be fine.
I'm much lighter on the. That's the one thing I'll forgive that movie for. I'll give him the. I mean, like just in terms of the big three, like the big 3 to 4 complaints of that movie, I'm going to say I'll give the fridge a pass.
It literally spawned the movie equivalent of Jumping the Shark, though.
Yeah, but it kind of makes sense. But he's Indiana Jones, so you can believe he might not be completely injured. Anyway,
so.
I'm saying
he just slowly died from radiation poisoning.
Well, it's a lead
okay,
bridge,
you know the shot when he gets out and he sees that mushroom cloud. Being that close to all that radiation alone would fucking kill him. But this isn't that podcast.
The stylistic thing. Anyway, yeah, we're back on case. Yeah, but seriously, Tiki, though, that is a Brad Bird touch. First of all, the way it's cut is a Brad Bird touch, which is fantastic.
Oh, yeah, I loved it.
But also, just the idea of, like, this the adults kind of looking down on the kid, or, like, not answering the kid, just, like, kind of almost like a Peanuts-like situation, like the adult just being unintelligible to the kid almost, like or some variation on there. It's a brilliant thing, just like the kid in school is just, like, not, like, Brad Bird has this brilliant way of, like, portraying the school system in his movies.
He does.
Like Bernie in The Incredibles.
Oh
remember
God,
Bernie? Bernie, don't Bernie me, that little rat thing. No, but
this
seriously,
little rat is guilty.
But seriously, before we crack about The Incredibles, seriously, just that bit. Then I love this. This sums up her character. You're right, dude. It sums up her character in a moment, and it's beautiful. It is perfect. Just her raising her hand. She finally gets called on like the last minute of class just by the one teacher. I think he's the one talking about global warming. I'm not sure. Probably not. It's probably something else. But he says, "Yes, Miss Newton," and he says, "Well, what can we do to fix it?" I just love it. He's like caught off guard, like, wait, this is in my training. Get the manual. Wait, what? And then the bell rings, and he just has like the sigh of relief.
Oh my God! Oh, I don't have to actually teach.
I think we've all been there. We have this thought. It's like perfectly is captured on film. It might something we only would have seen in animation up to this point. Just like the kid raising their hands, just the adults is like not registering it. It's happened to everyone in school or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's a perfect. Again, it just shows you the tragedy. This character, she has ideas. She has these solutions. She's asking the right questions, but she's in a society in this world. No one is paying her any attention to the smart. No one's listening to the smart questions. No one's doing anything about it. They're all complacent, which of course factors in big time to our third act.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so yeah, I guess really from that point forward, there's a lot of action.
Oh yes. Well, can I take a moment to indulge my gadget fetish real quick?
Go ahead.
Oh my god, I love the gadgets and the inventions in this movie so much. So first of all, the pins, it's a brilliant idea. It was from the trailers onward, it's such a brilliant notion. You should touch the pin. No one else can see it yet. Again, Brad Bird, he's brilliantly putting this in there. I don't really know Little off that well, but I'll give him some points. Here, just the idea of like you touch the pin, you can see into this other world, but you're not transported there. It's more of a message type thing, like give you a glimpse into the place, and of course the real life logic of that as well. You're still in the real world, so your physical body's there, and so what's gonna happen if like you walk around, you're gonna bump into stuff. So she goes to an open field.
I thought that was a really fascinating idea.
Yeah, the only question I really have is like if she's on like the little monorail type thing, does she go or does she stay?
Who knows?
No, but seriously, there's the idea she gets there. And I love that. First of all, I love knowing then when we see the counter on the back of the thing, it's like, oh no, she's only got like a minute left. And there's the idea like, hey, you want to go to the star? Like you like see the stars. Like you want to go? And then she just realizes, oh man, there's water around me. Like no, the time's running out. Now you're running out of power.
Yeah.
It's really. Yeah, really, really, really funny. But again, just I love that. First, again, the visual images in this movie are really great. Just her waddling around in this water, and then it's starting to seep into the delusion. Just I love the idea too that the whole little fantasy she had there. It's not a fantasy, but the whole little thing. It's a commercial for Tomorrowland. It's like a little training commercial.
Yeah, that's really fascinating.
Brilliant.
That kind of blew my mind when I realized that.
Yeah, you see.
The moment where George Clooney's like, you know, he's like, hey,
you're not special.
Did they save you the seat on the rocket just for you?
And again, remember that was a big thing for her because again, she wants to kind of go up there, see that grand world up there, and then just
right.
And just the idea what that idealistic just from the whole movie, I saw it so well. I love that the kid that they got to play, young Frank here, looked exactly like Clooney. I thought. Well, you know what I mean. I think he looked like a young George Clooney. I thought he looked the part. That's sort of throughout the movie, I was kind of piecing them both of them together. Like, yeah, that's what that little kid would do. Like, see, look how dirty this little kid's got. And just just hearing this kid so full of hope and flying, and he was the kid that kind of developed that whole little seat of flight there. You just think when they saved the last seat for you, saying, yeah, I had that same delusion too, kid, and look how I turned out. It's like, go home. Just that little moment, like you thought, and let me guess, they told you were special. Not the case. Just flings the pin at her.
So really quick, I think a really enjoyable action scene is what is it? The Nostalgia Shop.
Nostalgia.
You know, that one weird kind of nerd culture shop that they go into?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it's like a blast from the past. I think that's
right. Yeah,
yeah, that sequence. Oh, fantastic action sequence. You got like the two...
okay, first of all, I'm sorry. It is very gratuitously like, hey, we got Star Wars. We're Disney, and there's a lot of Star Wars.
Well, to be fair, Brad Bird loves Star Wars, so that's a fair thing, though. And it makes sense. Blast from the past stars, a lot of space travel, tomorrow stuff. Yeah, it's
I do love how the guy comes out, and he has that grand entrance where the door opens and everything, and then the Star Wars music is playing.
Oh, I love that, and I love the door gag. Like at first, you didn't think these people were robots when you first saw them, did you?
Not at first, no, definitely.
Yeah, just the idea of like going in there, like it's such a human bit of like you trying to make a dramatic entrance, going through the little doors, and it was like just like shutting on them.
So much for showmanship.
They got so much, so many of these human touches, and then you realize, oh my god, they're robotic. Just when we see them pull the ray guns, and you realize they're not toys. Like, oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Like, he blew a hole in his own wall, too, in his own ceiling too. Like.
And then they use Han Solo frozen in carbonite as a weapon, and R2 as a weapon.
I love that so much. I love using like R2-D2 was like as a weapon. Hearing the Chewbacca roars in the background throughout the fight. Throwing like I think they threw like the robot from that one of the first science fiction, the one from the flying saucer lands in the White House. The
Earth just still.
Yeah, that one. They have that robot in there somewhere. Yeah, a lot of fantastic.
And then that's where we get the reveal of the AAs, which of course I just lost my mind over.
And by the way, just to clarify, it's not just Star Wars. There's like Planet of the Apes. There's a lot of references. In
oh yeah, there are.
Robbie the robot.
Right.
Cool stuff.
But there is a lot of Star Wars. You got to admit.
Oh no, of course, there's an exuberant amount of Star Wars, but we all love Star Wars. So what's wrong with that?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that you're right. Tia, is a fantastic action scene. So when it looks like our girl's a goner, and after she's gotten their answers, and then again, here's like the kind of nice kind of Winter Soldier-ian setup almost of just telling him, well, you've told him everything you know, like Steve Rogers telling Pierce, well, his last words were, don't trust anyone. Well, what did he do? He told him the truth. What does he want from him?
Right.
It's the same thing. The girl said, well, no, I just found it in my bag. He said, well, did a little girl hand you this? And he says, well, I don't know. And she doesn't know. She's not lying. And that just instantly gets us to sympathize with the girl, saying, oh, no, she's in trouble. She's stolen everything. And now she's a goner. And then the little girl comes to the rescue, and oh, my God, does she kick a lot of butt.
Oh, my God. Yeah. She is like the action standout of this movie.
Of course, the other thing is keeping on with the gadgets here. I love like the little like time freezing dome that she throws in like this little. Then the little Brad Bird touch of like nothing can go off without a hitch. Just the hand is stuck in the portal in the line of fire.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, so much great stuff. And the idea is she ripped the last shot of this girl in this shop is that she ripped the one animatronic's head off.
Right. There's a lot of beheadings in this movie. That's kind of a running theme.
It gets sci-fi. There's no blood except for like she gets a bloody nose. That's about it, really.
Yeah.
And it's another thing he's done previously in his movies. He's like he gave Hogarth Youth a bloody nose.
Yeah, that's true.
The point is, she's the main protagonist child too, similarly. Anyway, but the point is like, yeah.
I have to point out just really quick. This isn't really much of a nitpick, but I mean, the main actress is like 25 years old.
Wait,
and
what?
Yeah, she.
Get out of here! She's 25.
And to be honest with you, I kind of noticed that throughout the movie. She definitely, to me, I guess you were fooled by it, but to me, I wasn't really buying the actress as a teenager. I was buying her as a high schooler the same way I was buying fucking Tobey Maguire as a high schooler. It didn't take me out of the movie at all. It's just want to throw that out there.
Well, I was fooled by it. I completely thought she was like a teenager. Like she was I thought she was like in her late teens.
Yeah, no, she's 25. She's older than me.
I think she did a nice job. I should say.
Yeah.
Anyway, so also it's with that with kind of the violence, but it's like the cool sci-fi violence. It's not even real violence. It's like when it dawns on you, like, oh my God, that's what happened. That's gruesome. Like, just I love when people get blasted when our human characters get blasted away. It's like, oh my God. It's like remember like our good cops, like they're just investigating the shop because the shop did blow up because of the little cool function. This does play in big time to the third act. When one of these animatronics gets killed, they have a self-destruct function. So
sure,
which is a really cool idea, which again saves the day in the end. She basically our smiley Jason Schwartzman looking animatronic just shoots one blank with really cool blasters. By the way, I love these blasters, Tiki. They remind me of Star-Lord's gun.
Yeah, definitely.
They remind me a lot of Star-Lord's gun, only more lethal and kind of sleeker.
I mean, the whole thing just has an aesthetic that is just completely Brad Bird. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. You know?
I love it. So creative. So it's so handy too. Again, you and me, I love my gadgets. I was in heaven watching this movie. Like, oh my God, so cool. Just like all the blasters, and then of course the best sequence that illustrates all the gadget uses is Frank's house. Oh my God!
That was fantastic. I kind of wish they didn't give a lot of it away in the trailer.
Yeah, but that was like a big selling point for me doing the trailer. Like, oh, this is gonna be so cool.
And to be fair, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in that scene that's not in the trailer. They really edited it down.
Here's like the holographic dog, and one of the coolest ones is like just the little laser grid of like when a guy walks through, just turns in like the cubes of cheese almost.
Right.
And then of course like one of the best parts is like she has a robotic arm stuck on her arm, and then she gets then stuck to the magnetic wall, and the guy's grabbing for a blaster, and And one of the coolest
Yeah,
parts
like
was when
blast the wall, blast like the side of the wall.
I love when she's beating the crap out of Jason Schwartzman, the animatronic guy.
With the bat. Oh yeah.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
with the bat. Then Clooney, then Frank just goes by.
All right. All right. That's enough.
I love the realism of he's trying to avoid getting hit with a bat behind her. Like, that's enough. And then, of course, it wasn't enough because he was trying to peer into the little capsule.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great stuff. And again, here's something kind of Star Warsian, the Brad Bird type vibe we got in the movie. Yeah, he does like the whole real world applications of these things. Like it's a lived in feel because remember he goes to use like a motorcycle, a little motorcycle type thing, and he can't get it started because it's running out of gas. It makes sense. Well, it's been like an emergency feature, and it hasn't maintained it apparently.
Exactly.
No, that's not it. And it is like a Carl Fredericks thing of like the kid's right, but he's not listening to her. Yeah, good stuff. Of course, the Eiffel Tower being a secret like rocket ship. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. But before we get to that, we get to the bathtub rocket.
Oh yeah. Again, I love how imaginative this. Like, if you're gonna have like all your safety defense measures and your escape measures built into the house, it makes sense. Well, a bathtub, place of safety in the house.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great stuff. But also, I love this little. It's not even just the gadget itself. I love this little. You know what I mean? I love I kind of coined like my catch me if you can logic of things. Of like your lived in evolution type things of like just. When they're in the rocket ship and they're going to do a little interdimensional travel thing, like things get all Alice in Wonderland-y, if you will,
Right,
kind of psychedelic. Right. I guess that's the word.
Oh yeah.
The idea, she has to eat a lot of like powder and then put on the blind man's blindfold. Sure,
yeah.
Because it's gonna be like a lot of sensory overload, and he was preparing for that. And then I just love this little touch too of like she drinks. She drinks like a bunch of like classic bottles of Coke.
Well, I love how it's like she grabs the one Coke, she downs it, and then George Clooney's going for it, and then she just takes it like right out of his hand and just downs it.
It does. I do a minor pet peeve, kind of a Nick Fordian pet peeve. It's not really anything. It's not exactly Nick Ford. It's just like a little beverage related gripe.
It's just like give the guy a soda.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
it's like the guy just went through the same process that you did.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's like I know there's another one in there because we see there's like 3 Cokes in there. Give me another. Like, seriously, Clooney, don't be a hero. Drink it. You need to drink this stuff.
Although actually, I think if I'm remembering the details correctly, I think the Coke is more for the low blood sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's really cool.
Well, yeah,
if it was honestly just because they were thirsty, that would kind of bother my pet peeve a little bit.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why he needs the Coke, because it's for low blood sugar.
Right, because blood sugar. Yeah, right. Okay.
And then she's the only. I think she did. He ate the powder too, so he would need that though. He would still need the Coke. That's my minor pet, but I'll let it slide.
Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. So I mean, a lot of cool things in this. movie. Also, one thing of glazed over I thought was really cool. I love like the interdimensional pool when we got a first like little preview glimpse at Tomorrowland.
We did glaze over that, and yes, that is very cool. That is a very cool image.
Because at first I thought it was like an anti-gravity thing, but then I realized, it's the same swimmer going through all the different pools, so it must be like a dimensional thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
It's so cool. Oh boy, oh man, so many areas to talk about in this movie, but I guess let's get to. Should we just keep going, or should we go to like the big messages of the movie?
No, just keep going. This is fine.
Take us through. Keep going.
Well, this is where we're at the Eiffel Tower, right?
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. In the Eiffel Tower, there's this great bit with like I love the secret room in the Eiffel Tower. It feels like such like an Imagineering little like fact, doesn't it? Of like,
it does.
I believe it's like he built like a little secret room, like, almost like a secret attraction type. It's like one of those hidden Mickey type facts,
Glove 33. Are you talking Glove 33?
I think I'm probably talking about Glove 30. I just don't know.
And also he built himself a secret apartment above the firehouse on Main Street. So
yeah, it's like that little. There's like that secret Walt Disney room. I remember
that's the firehouse. That's the second story of the firehouse.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of like that little Elias room we saw in Save Mr. Banks too. Like little nods here and there.
Oh yeah.
Point of points. I love the idea. I love how vigorously, for a moment, Frank just kind of loses himself here. He's talking about because he has such nostalgia for the people that inspired him, the people that kind of gave birth to Tomorrowland, and people he became fascinated with when he was there. The inventors, the classic inventors, this group of 4 inventors. Tesla, Edison, which of course he names the rocket ship after. Tesla, Edison. I know it's the other 2. Was Einstein there? No.
I don't know. I know Jules Verne was in there.
Yeah, Jules Verne. It's Jules Verne. I don't know.
I'm not sure of the third. I'm not sure of the fourth one.
Yeah, it was Edison or someone who was the fourth, like another inventor, like Edison was. Anyway, points like four, kind of like wax figured looking, like kind of almost like Hall of Presidents looking guys.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I just love that he's like.
It did look like something that would be up in the Hall of Presidents. You know, it looked like a Disney attraction.
And I love that, for a moment, Frank just kind of shakes his grumpy man attitude towards things because he's just so happy and so talking so. It's like he's gotten a chance to be around these guys, and he's telling Casey like, "Oh yeah, this the Tesla here was brilliant. The Edison here, like these two guys, they got to do a lot of, they bickered a lot, and it was really fascinating." And the Athena reminding him, Frank, before people try to kill us.
Right.
It was the idea he brightened up for a moment talking about something.
Yeah, that's kind of like
loved.
his whole character arc is kind of like getting back in touch with his inner child.
Yeah, he's getting back.
And really, when you think about it, that's kind of the whole core of the Disneyland experience.
Yes,
so
in a
sense, this movie captures what it is at the core that Walt Disney was trying to do.
And he's doing this through bonding with this little girl. He's like bonding with the kind of the emphasized version of that child he left behind in himself.
Sure.
Really cool stuff there. Something else. Something I just want to touch on with like some of the fantastic relationship dynamics. Let's talk about the dynamics real quick with the relationships before we get any further.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, I love again that realistic kind of Brad Bird relationship stuff of like her and her father, Casey, and her father and her brother. Because by the way, her brother, I forget. I feel bad I don't know the kid's name, but it's the kid from the Looper. I'm like 90% sure
it's the kid from Looper.
I am 90% sure, but don't quote me. I think it's the kid from Looper. I'm pretty sure.
That's not one of my favorite elements of Looper, but hey, that's cool, I guess.
I'm just saying, I was more terrified of that element of Looper because that kid scared me. But
I'm just saying, I think that kid kind of distracted from the time travel elements of Looper. But
anyway.
Again, this isn't that podcast.
Yeah, but I love like she had these realistic kind of Iron Johnny interactions with him. Like they knew what was up. Like the father. Like she has this moment like her father's starting to rail into her for like getting arrested.
Mm-hmm.
But she says, "Okay, listen, I get it, but can we just stop for a moment? Can I get like engineer dad now? Can you just tell me about touch this pin, please, and everything will be answered." And of course, like Ruck from under a moment of like touches the pin, nothing happens because it's DNA encoded. Which brilliantly, I love this. It wasn't like just the whole we had to figure it out moment of like, no, the DNA we saw it when Athena slipped her the pin, it was DNA access, so only she can use it.
Of course.
You we had the weird looking Gambit guy, by the way, in jail. It was like.
Oh my God! Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah, that weird looking Gambit guy.
That was honestly probably the part that the audience laughed at the most. Was that weird guy?
Yeah, that guy was just. I don't know. I got kind of a weird. Again, he didn't do anything really to warn you, but he was just kind of weird.
No, he just in general, just kind of like off-putting demeanor to him, which I think was kind of the point.
Yeah,
he's just
weird
this
smile.
Guy in like the jail release room,
Exactly, like the little bail room,
Right. Oh my
I know, but also, I love that she has a real close bond with her father, and her father, like, he's the guy who just, you get a sense she can get, she was in a place where she could say, she was going camping, and then she would deal with consequences later on. But still, she had respect. She has such respect for her father, and the father does reciprocate that. And in the end, he's not really mad at her for leaving. He's just like so happy she came back. It's a wonderful.
Sure.
And also, I love the thing with her brother. Her brother's like not like the whole like, no, you're my sister, and I don't like you type thing. No, it's actually a thing where like the brother's like, we'll give her some guff, but it's kind of like a Dash and Violet thing. It's like, you don't.
Absolutely, yeah. It is like live action Dash and Violet.
Yeah, but it's like I think the kids even maybe a little, like just maybe even a little better than that because the kid's like more than willing to help her out. He's like saying, "Well, where are you going?" And just I love this simple moment of him asking, "Just tell me what's going on. I'll tell you if you tell me what's going on." He says, "Well, it just tells him point blank. I love that." She says, "Well, I'm going to I found a way to get to the future." He says, "Well, can I come?" He says, "Soon, not yet."
Yeah, nice, very nice.
Oh, I love that. Oh my, I love that. And great dynamics among them all. And also the other dynamic, the huge dynamic of the movie, which you get to because it definitely feeds into the third act. Frank and Athena. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, it's just kind of like, again, it's just kind of plays on the whole idea of, AI and love and stuff like that, and, an AI developing human emotions.
First of all, this does AI 20 times better than Spielberg did. I got to tell you, the whole.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. And again, I have to say that after watching freaking Ex Machina, like that kind of that movie does very, very not pleasant things with the idea of AI and human interaction. So with that fresh in my mind, I kind of had to turn off that a little bit to enjoy it. But no, in all seriousness.
It's like we got another kind of a love story that we haven't seen. Like, I'm not saying it's more moving than this, because this was probably the most moving thing I've ever seen, almost ever seen. It's just like having to get up. Don't you
dare compare it to Carl Lanelli.
No, let me finish, Steve. I've said it's not. I can't compare it to that. I'm just saying the most moving relationship I have seen has probably been like the unfinished love story with Carl Lanelli. That's like the model of the most kind of moving, unconventional love story, like an unfinished love story.
Sure.
Here we got another variety of that. It was very different. That was really interesting. Like, it's
very, very different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a love story, but obviously, you don't want to see kind of Clooney kind of. It'd be kind of weird to see Clooney run away with the kid in the end there.
Well, that's weird. The thing. Yeah, that's why they had to tread lightly.
Yeah, but still, man, I love that there was a relationship that was like, it's in the past, and of course the whole thing is moving forward into tomorrow, and of course the girl would still be there for tomorrow. Just this idea of like she is like she's his ex-girlfriend in a way, and like she broke his heart. She's the reason he's hopeless now. The reason like he's abandoned all hope, and he holds this embitterment towards her. I love the whole movie. Like Frank is telling Casey, like, no, he is just really justifiably mad at her. Mm-hmm. Just saying, no, here she's offering you lies. She does that. She's saying, she gave like a little promo thing. She's not explaining the full situation. She was banished too.
Right. So there is a little bit of a gray area with her character in a way, for sure.
Yeah, just the idea that she betrayed him in such a way that made him the way he is, and he got banished from Tomorrowland. Mm-hmm. Just like there's such embitterment. She's the reason he's embittered. This relationship went south so bad. She can't really dwell on like the relationship she had with him, because she blocked it out, because she figured human and robot would never work.
Sure.
Yeah, there's the idea. It's like there's not even that. It's just he does truly care about her. It's not a relation. It's not like a lovey-dovey relationship. It's just like a whole.
No. It's not that at all. It's not that at all. Yeah.
Exactly. It's so moving though that it's like it's between man and a machine, but they were so close as kids, and they had such an influence on each other's lives. And now even at this stage, they're back together, and they're kind of, it's like a fulfillment of fate almost, of like, hey, we're going back to Tomorrowland. We're kind of taking it back to where we first kind of connected.
I mean, I would be lying if I said that I wish that there wasn't a little bit more development of their relationship in the past. I understand, like, in a way, it's kind of a reveal right at the end, right? That they had those feelings for each other.
Well, I mean, that he had feelings for her, because we saw that really cool bit of, like, her using the holographic little firing device.
Sure.
Of just seeing, like, the idea he would try to make her laugh, which we'll see, I think.
Oh yeah, that was a really good idea. That was, you know what? God, I feel like do you want to just like, let's talk about the concept of Tomorrowland as a whole, because this is the biggest thing I have a problem with.
I don't know. I kind of want to talk more about the relationship.
Well, what else do you have to say? Because I feel like it's kind of. We're kind of beating into it a little bit.
Real quick. Just I just love this idea of like just the the whole idea of making her smile, like, and how I just kind of see it in there. There's an embitterment there, but then obviously it leans back to that little kid who's just like they had such an impact on each other's lives. Just that little smile bit of like his reaching the program, like she inspired him to be more creative, push his limits, and he inspired her to kind of embrace that kind of that human ingenuity that she realized that she has. She convinced herself she was purely a robot. She was ones and zeros, like he would mock her for it. Throughout the movie, I love that whole runner of like him saying, you just see things of ones and zeros. Of course, that comes back in the end when he's talking
and basically what I'm saying is that this movie has a lot of good runners like that, and a lot of good stuff, and that's kind of why I want to get into the faults that I do have with the film.
All right, okay, well, I'll smooth things out at the end if we get to it. Go ahead.
Okay, basically, I just don't feel like Tomorrowland as a whole is explained all that well, and I feel like that's Lindelof's fault. I blame Lindelof on
Well,
it.
I can kind of see where that would be Lindelof's weak point.
Right.
I've never
Yeah.
seen Lost, but I get a vibe of Lost kind of leaving people a little not
Well, yeah, that's for another podcast.
But regardless, so just say what directly is the problem here? What's not explained well? What's really not doing it for
my
you?
problem, it's not really that things aren't. It's okay. So it's like they get to Tomorrowland, and it's kind of like all run down, right?
Yeah.
And that's
By the way,
That's where I kind of start to lose interest a little bit.
You gotta admit, like, Deserted Tomorrowland looks pretty cool, though.
It was a neat idea, but honestly, the whole thing that was great about Tomorrowland to begin with was how much energy it had. So it was a neat idea, but I felt like basically the whole third act is abandoned Tomorrowland, right?
Well, I think it's going for kind of a Wall-E thing, Tiki, of like it's not what you expected it to be, and it's like this dilapidated world that is. There's still some hope there, but it just needs to be worked at. I think that's what they're going.
No, I hear ya. I hear ya. It does kind of like.
Remember the
tricky,
idea,
man.
They did set up in the second act so that you wouldn't get your expectations too high. Because remember, Frank kept telling you that that was like an ad they put out. It's a little commercial they put out. That what you saw there.
Sure.
That's not like things have gone to heck there. Remember, there's that great moment too in the opening of like him saying, and then everything went to heck after that.
And then everything went to heck.
I think they built it in well enough so you wouldn't get your expectations too let down by that. I think it's well set.
I mean, I'm not even saying I'm not even complaining about it in terms of a story-wise, because I liked it from a story perspective.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't know, once House gets in there and he starts being just like, oh, I'm the villain because I'm the villain. If you've seen Jeremy Jahns, that's basically what Jeremy Jahns says about the villain. He's just like, I'm the villain and I'm going to do villain things because I'm the villain.
I think he's kind of an interesting mix of, this is kind of a weird comparison, but I think it's kind of true. He's kind of a mix between Charles Muntz and a misguided Walt Disney.
I can see misguided Walt Disney. I can see that. I can also see the Charles Muntz.
Yeah, and actually there's a character I know you don't know, but the Batman the Animated Series, there's a parody of Walt Disney called Grant Walker. And
really?
The idea is he tried a whole Tomorrowland society and it missed.
Oh, I want to see that episode now.
Basically, it was basically he tried to turn a Tomorrowland-like environment. I think it was called I cannot remember what the name was. It was like a Newtopia or something. And the idea is that he was going to be like an actual fully living. He was a guy. It wasn't just a theme park to him. It was like an actual society. He was going to take a few man.
Right?
Yeah, he was going to freeze the rest of the world, so this civilization would be protected.
Oh, okay. So it's basically like Walt Disney's Epcot if Walt Disney's Epcot wanted a genocide of everyone else.
Yeah, and the idea also is this guy was kind of like the frozen head myth turned alive because he made himself into a Mr. Freeze.
Oh God.
And he was so self-righteous too.
All right. Anyways. Yeah. I don't think the final action scene was really that memorable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I felt like all the other action scenes kind of leading up to that one were better in terms of the fight in the shop and then the chase in the house. And
what specifically about the last action scene did you not like? Which element of it? Which face-off exactly? Because there were a few.
I'm talking about where they're at the portal and they're sending them back. You know what I mean?
I don't know, the portal thing was kind of cool. They're fighting over the little wrist control thing, and then they both get kind of stuck there for a moment. I do
like the moment when Clooney and House both. I'm sorry. I'm just going to keep calling the guy House. I'm sorry.
I don't have a problem calling him David, to be honest. I just can't call him Nick still. I don't know why.
I can't call him anything but House. So I like the moment when Clooney and House, they get stranded on that beach.
They're both doctors, too. That's what's funny about
it. I don't know. To be honest with you, the whole final act, I didn't know where it was going, and I didn't really know, I don't know, man.
Let me tell you this. I'll tell you a moment I kind of liked. It was a little subtle, but it was in there. It was just
Okay.
David. when they're both stuck there, for a moment, it's kind of dawned on me that'd be kind of like a cool way to kind of finish. Like, oh, he gets stranded there because that's his word. He's abandoning humanity. He's all about Tomorrowland. It's like that's the worst thing you could do to him, banish him on Earth, because that's what he kind of condemned Frank to. Yeah, I thought it was like a cool idea for a moment. They were both like frustrated, like, no! It has a moment there of like just he's looking at it like he's like, oh my god, my siblings.
But I like how the two of them are essentially just kind of like
they're fighting like children. I love that.
Right.
But I love how like kind of the robot saves him again too. Of like get some third part, but also like just literally his civilization is crumbling around him, which leads to his legs getting pinned down, and then of course that awesome self-sacrificial moment we'll get to in a moment.
Yes.
But still, I don't know. I like the action scene. I'll admit there was one element I will give you that I think we could have been done a little better.
Okay.
And to be fair, I'm going to point this out. Brad Bird's third action sequences, they are his weak suit. They are the weak part of his
right.
However,
yeah, I can see that.
I would argue. I'm not saying for his animated films, third acts are fine. I want to make that clear. Third acts are the animated films.
Yeah, but even having said that, I think that like the final fight in The Incredibles isn't as good as the action stuff on the island.
No, I would disagree with you there.
You would disagree? Okay, fair enough.
I'm just going to say his other live action exploit had a kind of a weird third act. It wasn't.
See, I haven't seen Mission Impossible yet. I really should see that.
I've never seen the first three, but I have seen the last one.
The only one I've seen is 3.
I've only seen 4.
And I only saw 3 for Philip Seymour Hoffman, and he was wonderful.
I saw 4 for Brad Bird and all the cool stuff.
Where is the rabbits?
I love the opening Mission Impossible 4. That's for another time. Point is, the ending to that movie, it's like the beginning of it's pretty good. It's well set up. There's like a few action set points, which are fine. I think that's what I'm going to say for this one. I think this one kind of has a bit of that there, where it's clear enough what's going on, but then it basically devolves into an action sequence in a parking garage, a bunch of cars falling on people. And it's, it's okay. Basically, that's what I'm saying. I think it's when you're reading more of it than I'm reading more of the first half. You're reading more of the second half on this. That you get the idea to spoil the bad guy. That's the main premise, but just the way of doing it's like a little confusing. Like, does he have to go through all of this?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like for me, I think.
And again, I blame Lindelof. I really do blame Lindelof.
Now, if I may. If I can just kind of get a vibe, I think the main gripe with the action scenes are. Okay. Is it the whole like bomb thing of like just bombing the monitors? Is that the main?
Dude, to tell you the truth, I just think it's just kind of like not on the same sort of scale and didn't have the same sort of kinetic energy that the other action scenes did. That's all it comes down to. I mean, that's just like my critical kind of like filmmaking perspective.
Well, maybe if it's not that good, but it's not. I don't think it's that weak of a third act. I think it's like there's definitely some stakes. There's a huge bomb there, and that's the idea of like you could blow up like the huge part of Tomorrowland there, or you blow yourself up, blow up the bad thing, or blow up our 2 guys on Earth right now. And I love kind of the idea of that huge explosion. It has been well set up. It's kind of the gun that's been established and almost.
It is the Chekhov's gun, indeed.
Yeah, it's been established. Like the whole thing, we'll just hide this. Okay, it's a kiloton bomb. And of course, it does pay off. And of course, it kind of leads to. It's interesting. The big element of destruction here. Well, not the big smoking gun, so to speak, is given to the little girl, and the little girl gets killed because of this in some way.
Right.
Yeah, because she she holds on to this thing and because it backfires and kind of leads the backdraft of the explosion, kind of leaves them all disoriented and leads our bad guy to get in the upper hand and almost killing Frank. And then she.
And I love how that device is used of like being able to see 3 seconds into the future.
Yeah. And it's interesting. We know that he's okay, yet we still were involved in it. Am I correct in that? Like you were still worried?
Oh yeah. When George Clooney, I'm like, what? They just killed George Clooney?
Remember, we know he doesn't die because he's doing the awesome thing in the beginning. But still, it's like so moving. And that's the moment of the third act. No matter what, well, again, the only gripe I really have with this is they could have just made like the whole why can't she figure out the bomb and just throw it in the thing a little better. That's my one gripe. Yeah. That's my one gripe of the third act. I think the rest of it's pretty cool. Maybe I'll admit, I'll give you this. It could have been trimmed down a little bit. I'll give you like the whole fighting.
I think this movie could have been under 2 hours, and it's 10 minutes over 2 hours. So I think there's where kind of part of the problem came from.
Yeah, maybe they just trimmed down some of the action. I think the action.
I agree.
You're right. The action was cool, but not as creative as the other. So it's pretty much standard action. But I mean, the only creative element, however, I do disagree with you that I think the creative element was the whole portal thing. Though I thought that was really creative.
Oh no, I don't disagree with you on that at all. That was my favorite part of the.
Just the monitor things where it kind of slows. Yeah, it's the monitor thing like going up and down, up and down, up and down. That's where it kind of like we're kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
Brad Bird's thing he still needs to work on for live action. He just needs to spice up the second half of his third act in the action.
Right, right.
So yeah, I think he has a good foundation for like the third act, but it drags a smidge for the live action stuff. We'll see.
Oh, and also, just very importantly, I didn't like how preachy it got.
You know what? At first I was wondering how he was going to feel that, but I don't. I think it's because of Hugh Laurie's delivery. I really like it. I'm not sure. I like it though. I think it's powerful. I think the message. I think it's humble.
It's just like, okay, I get it, Al Gore, global warming, we need to do shit about it. I get it.
I know. I didn't read it like so much as that. I think the way it's written there wasn't specifically about the messages, like all the different, like, we have to address these issues. I think it was more so we gotta find a solution to the problem instead of focusing on the problem itself. I read it more as like a humble, listen, it's like a humble yet simple message of, complacency isn't the way to go here. That's going to lead to our downfall here. We know a threat's coming, yet we do nothing about it. We just focus on the problem. We need to focus on the solution, which is what we saw with the girl in the classroom.
Sure,
that's what I took away from it. That's why I really liked it.
Okay, fair enough.
It's like basically, the state of the world. We know what the state of the world is. Let's do something about it. Let's come up with these creative solutions. Let's innovate to fix it. Make it better. And of course,
I'm just kind of resistant to preachy movies in general. Like, that's kind of like one of the reasons I don't really care for Neil Blomkamp as a filmmaker, is I feel like his movies have a lot of really cool world building in them, but at the end of the day, they're all very much like District 9 is very thinly veiled. Like, oh, we shouldn't treat immigrants poorly. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's a cool message, and it's not that I even disagree with it. It's just that it kind of hits you over the head a little bit.
No, but I'll say for the majority of Brad Bird's films, I think he takes these preachy elements and he does them really well, though. It's Iron Giants obviously has a lot of some elements, but I think he does it extremely well in that one.
I think Iron Giant, he does it a little better.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it comes across as preachy. I think it's just kind of like I think it's nicely.
I think it comes across as.
That's fair enough. I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you there. I think.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
Point is, and basically where it ends up, I think, is where it really just ties together perfectly for me. But we'll see. Anyway, so the whole innovate to fix things, just make it better, which of course is one of Disney's things. Like, he would be on a ride or watching something, he says, "How can I make this better?" That's one of Disney's philosophies. I think that
is one of the big reasons why Disneyland is still as successful as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine if they would have kept those rides the same way they were in 1955? No, everything in that park has been updated and updated and updated.
I think it might be a reason I'm kind of like jiving for this message of let's don't just be complacent, make things better. I think it fits in with that Disney philosophy almost. I don't know. It might be why I'm
I'm just resistant towards it in terms of the environmental aspects of it, because I don't need this to be an environmental movie.
And
I know that's not necessarily what they were trying to say, but I don't know. I'm just a little bit resistant.
Just real quick, just for the reason of the thing, just like why he's kind of saying this. I like the idea. That's kind of why, in terms of the villain reveal, I think it makes sense that it's kind of like a Charles Munsey, just a guy who had ideals and just kind of got kind of misshapen here, of the guy who they look to him as kind of like, well, let's talk to this guy so we can work up a solution. I love how he truly does have these feelings for Frank of Frank, he was truly impressed by this kid, and he just has this genuine delivery of Frank, despite what you might think, this truly has been nice. It has been nice to see you. Stuff like that. But I love just. I think it was a good idea that he just said, well, no, we can't bring humans here. Because look what they're doing. They're not doing anything. If we bring the people here, it's going to ruin Tomorrowland.
Yeah, that was an interesting kind of villain motivation there. It was almost kind of just segregating everyone. You know what I mean?
However, I will say that I think what might have made his message a little stronger, maybe a little less preachy, if I could just put that out there, maybe make all parties happy. Maybe is that I think if we saw more people in Tomorrowland, I know it was supposed to be.
That's one of my big problems with the third act, is that we see jack shit and no one. After we build up this kind of cool society.
Well, do we think those kids are already built, or were they built by Frank? What do you think?
I got the impression that they were all built by Frank after the fact, but I don't know. I don't know. That's just a guess.
But then again, remember, David had guards though, so I think there might be actual people there might be hiding. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, no, there were definitely actual people there, but what I'm saying is that the whole thing, I guess that was my main problem with the whole Tomorrowland is kind of deserted in the third act thing, is it's not the story idea that I have a problem with, it's literally the lack of energy within Tomorrowland. If you understand what I'm
And
saying.
I think kind of the idea there with Dave is like he's just like a self-defeating prophecy. He doesn't realize it, like the idea of we're striving for a better tomorrow, but there is no tomorrow, and why try anymore?
Yeah, it's like this place kind of sucks. You know what? Oh my god! I just realized this.
What?
I would laugh. Oh my god!
What?
Okay, what if the old school Tomorrowland in this movie is meant to represent like the 1960s Tomorrowland with all the people movers and everything like that? You know, the idealistic Tomorrowland. And then what if when they get to Tomorrowland in the third act, that's supposed to represent Tomorrowland in its current state? You know what? If that's the case, then I fucking love it.
Let me think about this for a second here. Let me think.
Because Tomorrowland, in its current state, there's no movement. It's all kind of desolate. It's all shitty looking. There's no real cohesion to any of the theme.
Well, there might be a little bit of something there, Tiki, because there is
so maybe what they're saying is like, hey, Imagineers, Tomorrowland is terrible. Get on it. Look at how cool it used to be.
I think it's I think you're on something, because I think it is saying, because remember that was a commercial the way things used to be, and like the way to get people there to strive for things. But now since David's he ceased that from happening, the idea it's a barren land where tomorrow.
I cannot emphasize enough how much the people movers getting taken out really hurt Tomorrowland. I can't emphasize that enough. Because Tomorrowland used to be known as the world on the move. And without the people movers there, man, it became a ghost town. It really did.
Well, maybe a message is that when we take away what's special about Tomorrowland, there then ceases to die, and because of that, we need new minds to come in and kind of enrich it with the kind of the past stuff. Because we need to go back a little. We need to go to yesterday to get to tomorrow. Maybe there's a bit of that in there, and maybe that's a bit of that.
Okay, if that's the case, if Brad Bird really was like, okay, I'm going to show like this shitty, desolate version of Tomorrowland in the third act, and that's meant to represent current Tomorrowland, I'll be like, bravo, Brad Bird. That is like the cherry on top of my nerd pie right there.
Well, I think he's kind of going for that more. Maybe it's not as directly that. Maybe it's a more subtle way of we just we need to strive for more new ideas. We can't just be complacent with the loss of old ideas. We got to build new stuff. It's basically we can't go.
At any rate, there is a magical Tomorrowland in this movie and a shitty Tomorrowland. So.
Anyways, plus the idea is he's sending just the idea of Dave is again he's a self-defeating prophecy. He's broadcasting the idea of the world's going to end if you humans keep doing what you're doing, and it's kind of sending bad vibes all around. So the idea is we just got to put the positive view in there, and it's going to change everything. And that is a good idea, I think, to put it right. It's positive thinking. And in the end, of course, let's go through real quick. Just the big, huge, dramatic, awesome moment. Oh my God, it's almost enough to bring you tears. It's so beautiful. Of Athena
taking. It almost is like a Guardians of the Galaxy style ending.
Oh, almost. Yeah. Athena taking the proverbial plasma bullet for Frank, and there's that moment. Of course, we know she's bound to self-destruct here, but before she does that, she's going through the shutdown motions, and just like the whole. Frank is caressing this child, taking her to the or his old friend, his old hugely impactful friend, taking her to the side there, and basically all these little details here. It's like this is where AI went wrong. They didn't have this powerfulness behind it. This is where it's just she's saying, well, forgive me, the next messages might be out of sync for the last bit of log stuff here, and she has some stuff she wants to say in her last moments of personal interface,
sure.
But she can't finish it, but then it just goes in the log book type stuff, and it just says, I met this boy, and I met this boy, seems like a suitable candidate and all that stuff, and then he says, he tries to make me smile. Not so, I wonder if he'll think of me less if he finds out I'm not human. All that stuff, and oh my God, it's so powerful. She gets a last word there, just saying, I'm sorry, then you should use me to self-destruct the thing. So, oh my God, and Clooney, oh my God, this is where Clooney earns his pay right here.
Oh absolutely, absolutely, man, Clooney. He's not phoning it in one bit, man. He is giving it his all.
Oh yeah, I mean, my God, he's watching a child. It's not just a child; it's his true love in the robotic child form. Oh my God, it's beautiful. And at the point, he's just looking at her. He's crying. He's starting. He's not even crying over. He's just realizing what he has to do. And then there's a heroic moment, just the bitter book closing irony of then he's rocketing her up to the thing, and then she says, "You can drop me here." And then there's that great moment, the best line, one of the best moments of the whole movie. She says, remember when you tried to make me laugh? Why you couldn't do that, right? She says, well, why? because you're not funny. And then there's that laugh, and then she laughs. He laughs, and then she laughs in this hugely dramatic moment. And then he says, "You can drop me here."
Oh yeah.
Drops her, and then of course it's kind of a darkly funny moment too. Of like, then he's coming back when the aftershock kind of shakes his jetpack a little, and he's going back to that little kid state of like, wait, before it even met her. Again, it's going full circle here. Just like he's malfunctioning on the jetpack again, easily slamming into the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little comedic, it's a little 100-mile dash type humor, but still it's powerful though. Right. It's like bang, bang, bang. He's had this really traumatic thing happen, and he's back on the ground.
Yeah.
Big stuff. And this the idea that, okay, well, what are we going to do now? We're going to rebuild. We're going to...
I am so glad they didn't just cop out and rebuild like an exact replica of her or something like that.
No, of course. But however,
I'm so glad they didn't go that route.
I got to tell you, that one kid did sound a lot like her. I'm not sure. There was a boy, though. I don't know. The boy sounded a lot like her. This is a British kid, then, I guess. Maybe that was it.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Anyway, the point is... So then we find out he's been talking to another, like a whole line of robot kids are kind of fulfilling the same purpose of like going. He realized, and I love how he says this too. Like, I used to say that you was ones and zeros. So you couldn't make an actual decision like this. But I was wrong. You pick the right people. The artists, the creators, and the idea that's what the Imagineers are made of: artists, creators,
the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Don't even start you. You see what I mean, though? That's a great message too.
Oh, yeah.
Of saying, the greatest minds on earth would be here. The artists, the artists, the scientists, the mathematicians, you name it, all the creative people, the best people on earth. They made up this place, and you're going to find them. And
I really do like the last shot of all the people in the wheat field looking at the city. Yeah,
and then basically, also I love just the sequence of discovery too, of like seeing the pins appear everywhere and people finding them.
Yeah.
And there's the idea they all touch them simultaneously, and then they're in the field. It's like the idea of the dream lives on. Yeah,
I will admit I did think the third act was messy, but I thought everything after everything from the point where Athena gets hit onward was super well done.
By the way, I just want to isolate a great line. It was in the trailer. It still works really well in the trailer, but I also love how it was like done a little differently in the film when you see it all transpire, just like him saying, "You wanted." Remember, he hides the bomb and everything, and
you wanted to see Tomorrowland. Here it comes.
And the idea that he warned her that Tomorrowland is not the happy-go-lucky place you saw.
That's true. That's very true.
And also, I love it's a little on the nose, but I still thought it was really cool too. And there's a nice little reference to it too, that in the classroom, the guy literally held up 1984. It's like
1984, right?
And now importantly, remember, this is important, Tiki. Frank, he left. He was banished. He was kicked out of the place in 1984.
Okay.
So maybe there's a bit of a message there. That's when things took a turn. That's when he was banished, in 1984.
All right.
Maybe it's a bit.
Okay. Did you get the chance to sit through the credits?
I did.
Was there anything?
Oh, well, it wasn't much. It was like a cute little ending thing. It was like basically you see the pin at the bottom of it all, and then a kid touches it. Does he
get transported to the wheat field?
It's not a kid. It's like an arm just touches it, like boom, and then it's gone. It's nothing special.
Okay.
It's adorable.
Okay.
It's like it's like the pins, like a little symbol for the pins at the bottom. Like someone touches it, and like a little boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that is Tomorrowland in a nutshell. We kind of meant for this video to be like a first reaction sort of thing, but I'd say we did a good job of kind of covering all the bases of the movie. But
we're probably going to be talking about this again, though, because this is fantastic.
Probably, but we need to get like a panel on it.
Of course.
We need to get England in here. We need to get Monkey in here. We need to get Adventure Blue Dude. So it might be like a good month or so before we get everyone to see that movie and then connect all the times and everything like that. But yeah, there will be a panel discussion.
See why we have to find these metal eyeglass containers full of like pins so we can hand them out to everyone. That's what we need to do so we can all get on the same page, so to speak.
Now all I want to do is make Adventure Blue Dude, Monkey, and England all buy those like pins. And then like film like a retrospective of them, like a montage of them, finding the pen. Like Monkey could find it under the weird iPod shuffle thing on his wall, and then all of them touching it and then showing up on the podcast. Oh my God, we need to do that.
We'll see.
Okay, so anyways.
So I guess last thoughts on the movie overall.
Yeah, final thoughts for me. you know, this discussion definitely, like, there's some points to it that I'm still kind of sour on. I feel like there could have been a little more development. You sold me a little bit more on the whole desolate Tomorrowland in the third act, so I'll give you credit. Overall, I did think this movie was super imaginative, super fun. I will say, as a whole, I enjoyed the first half much more than I enjoyed the second half as a whole. But so it's a little uneven for me. But yeah, it's definitely like a Disney fan, you know, sort of like, if you're a Disney fan, then there's a ton of Easter eggs in here for you. And just as a movie, George Clooney kills it. Really good character development, really good dynamics. Overall, a really good film that just kind of has a few uneven patches here and there for me.
Well, let me address something really quick before we go out here, because I just want to get your thoughts on this real quick. Two things. One, just to answer the question you posed earlier. Do you think it justifies him not? You think he made the right choice going for this passion project over a Star Wars sequel?
Ooh.
I don't know.
I don't know. I honestly, it'll just, like, right now it's at like a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's my other thing I wanted to talk about. Like, so do you think it's earning of that rating?
No, absolutely not. I think it's more in kind of like the 60 to 70 range.
I've read some like paper. Like I read a paper or something where it give like a 3 out of 4 stars. I think that's definitely a decent.
Chris Stuckman gave it a B+. Jeremy Johns gave it a good time, no alcohol required.
Yeah, I thought that was fair.
Right.
You know, if I have like a percentage of some kind, I guess I'd give it like personally, I'd give it like I'd put it like the 85 to 90 range.
I give it like somewhere between a 7 and an 8.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Anyway, so with that, I'm going to say, you know, just in terms of like if it was worth it or not, Brad Pitt put his heart and soul into the scene. I saw it on screen. I was moved by it.
No, yeah, absolutely. And for that reason alone, for him personally, it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it.
And you know what? Just for the future.
And you know what? He will direct a Star Wars movie. Yeah. I mean, come on.
That's what I'm saying. I hope they give him like a spin-off or something. Like maybe like
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll give him a spin-off.
No, like just like give him like the Obi-Wan Kenobi like prequel movie or something. You know, I don't know. Give him something. Give him something good. I want to say give him Boba Fett, but I'm not sure. I think Boba Fett's like still.
Well, Boba Fett, we already. That's kind of in director limbo right now, isn't it?
Yeah, they're in like. Plus, there's like the talk of like if the Boba Fett's just gonna be lumped in with the heist movie or not.
Don't give him Boba Fett just yet because he needs to do Incredibles too.
Of course, I'm just saying like in general. I don't know which character to give him. I'm sure
he can do a Star Wars movie after he fucking gives us Incredibles too.
So I mean, look, he can give us like a Boss Biggs, not Boss.
God. Boss Biggs haven't made that.
Sorry, I meant.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Bring on the Boss Biggs.
No, sorry, I meant Boss, the bounty hunter, not Boss Biggs. So here's what I was thinking. I mixed together the two Star Wars characters, Biggs and Boss.
Oh God. Oh, Boss Nass. You're talking about Boss Nass.
Yeah, Boss Nass and also Biggs. Remember Biggs? Because apparently someone made like a fan documentary about Biggs. I gotta look into it.
Who's Biggs? I don't remember Biggs.
Who's Biggs?
Who's Biggs?
Biggs was was Luke's friend. Remember the one that the one that inspired him to go into the service. You know,
oh, okay, yeah, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, Joe played him in the Star Wars.
But no, you're right. He could make a fucking Gungan movie, and it would be great.
Yeah. Exactly. He can even get that one Jedi, the one with the ridiculously long neck, a good one.
All right.
Point. Let me say my final thoughts. So anyway, so I think it was worth it because it is entirely his movie. And this is, again, I'm really hoping, the one fear I have is, well, you just my one fear of this movie. Mm-hmm. I'm terrified it's going to end up being like a John Carter in terms of boxes, but I'm assuming because of the Tomorrowland in the title, it'll do at least better than that.
I'm terrified of that too, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Because imagine what horrible message that would send out to the people that, hey, these Pixar guys, they're only good in animation, but they're not. They're fantastic storytellers. Right. They can do anything, and again, John Carter's pretty good, and even the first one he did get like a 90%.
John Carter, like my dad did not like it at all, and he's a big fan of the books, so I am going to have to take his word on that there, but I don't know. Maybe I should see the movie for myself. Who knows?
No, I mean, seriously, John Carter is a hardly underrated movie. But I'm also saying like the first Brad Bird movie, the Mission Impossible 4, that's what everyone get like a 90% of the rating somewhere. Sure. But that's a good one, though. Again, they're both.
Honestly, Lindelof has like so much more to do with the bad reviews than Brad Bird does.
Exactly. So I'm saying, even regardless, you just give these.
It's kind of the Prometheus syndrome of Lindelof.
And look, I'm
like all the Ridley Scott stuff in Prometheus is awesome. The Lindelof stuff, the incoherent writing and the incoherent sci-fi universe, kind of shitty.
And, just to be not to be out to be kind of worst case scenario, but still optimistic. If this is another failure, unfortunately, if it is.
But honestly, like this movie and Mad Max are kind of like going head to head, and I want both of them to be a success. So,
but just again, I'm hoping that it's going to be more. I think kids would love this movie. I think they would.
I think it would be a shame if the Poltergeist remake beat this.
No, it'd be terrible if that happened. But the point is, worst case scenario. I mean, same thing, kind of John Carter. I mean, obviously John Carter's failure did not sink the Disney company at all. I'm thinking, well, with all the Star Wars
obviously
money,
not. No.
I'm thinking with all the Star Wars money they're raking, especially this year, and all the just basically all
Disney is going to eventually become by and large. That's what's going to happen.
Oh my god! But you see what I'm saying? I'm saying like Disney is such a rich company at this point. I think they'll be fine if it doesn't do well. I'm going to hope they still give like Pixar.
I do think that Brad Bird is a respected filmmaker enough that this is not going to take Brad Bird's career or anything like that.
I'd be fascinated if we saw a Pete Docter movie at some point, like a live action Pete Docter.
That would be really good. Yeah.
Remember, even guys like I'm not saying the Pixar guys, but like Frank Oz, from Star Wars, he does a lot of great directing work on the side too. Sure. Anyway, so my final thoughts are just so quick drawing on here. So again, overall, I really did love this film. Again, it's just seeing Brad Bird on screen with all these characters. Again, it's just Interstellar and Inception together on a movie. And I think it's fantastic. And it's filled with so many great creative things. I think it just kind of catches the spirit of Tomorrowland, which was like the goal set of like capturing. And he said this in interviews too, like saying he was going for like kind of that the inspiring Disney vibe. And again, I think the big inspiration running theme of this movie is like inspiration, like the whole rocket launch.
Absolutely.
It's like he wants to capture with a Disney flair to it all, capture the moon landing for the new generation with this movie with the Disney from the Disney side of it. I think that's really a noble thing to do.
Sure.
I'm all for seeing that, and I thought it's a great thing. It has some fantastic characters, a great adventure. I mean, I really want to sit down and watch this movie again. I mean, obviously, the monetary constraints and everything. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that, but when it comes on demand and on DVD, I will definitely buy this movie because I really did truly love this movie. I'm going to hope that the guy has a commentary, but then again, Disney screwed me over before.
It's not going to.
Now, to be fair, that's their animated films that have been screwing me over lately with the commentary. So there's a chance, like John Carter had commentary. That was before this.
Does Big Hero 6 have commentary?
No.
We need to record that at some point. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, but still, you know what I mean? It's just the animated movies keep screwing me over with the commentary. Then again, John Carter had commentary, but that was before they started screwing people over. Though I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Pirates of the Caribbean. Curse of the Black Pearl had 4 commentaries, and then Dead Man's Chest had 1. And then At World's End had 0.
That makes sense.
Well, yeah, it makes sense in terms of the quality of the movies, but...
Anyway, so my point is, folks, this is a fantastic, in my opinion, it's a fantastic movie. I highly recommend if you're going to see the genius of Brad Bird taking on a film, let alone taking on a Disney film. So, by the way, one last thing. So, never mind, we'll save it for when we have a panel discussion.
Okay.
But, so a fantastic movie. Everyone, I highly implore you, check it out. And everyone just, make sure encourage your friends to see this movie. It's worth seeing. It's great. It's going to put you in a good mood regardless. So, whether you're a fan of Tomorrowland or not, you're just going to have that childlike wonder that young John Francis Walker had and young Casey Newton had. You're just going to have a blast and a good time. You're going to want to go to Tomorrowland. It's going to be great.
Oh yeah.
So if I can close this out with a Disney quote, if I may, channel my inner Walt Disney. I'm in a real kind of Epcot Disney vibe right now. And so I love that little okay.
Epcot.
An appropriate Disney kind of quote to take us out. It's on a Tomorrowland themed. Remember, folks, a beautiful tomorrow is just a dream away. That says we're going places, there's progress ahead.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right, yeah, that is our discussion of Tomorrowland, folks. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned. See you later.
It's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
George Clooney. Gotta love the George Clooney.